لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah, we begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity for us to continue our lesson in Muqaddimah Hadramiyah, and we pray that Allah bless this lesson, make it a reason our sins are forgiven and prayers are answered. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with understanding, iman and taqwa. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. So, continuing from where we stopped in our last lesson, we are now in the part where the author speaks about the sunnahs in the Jama'ah prayers. So we mentioned some parts of it. I believe we have not completed this. The last part we mentioned last week is the part where the authors mentioned وَكَذَا تُكْرَهُ الْجَمَاعَةُ فِي مَسْجِدٍ لَهُ إِمَامٌ رَاتِبٌ وَهُوَ غَيْرُ مَتْرُوكٍ وَلَمْ يَأْذَنْ لَهُ إِمَامُهُ إِلَّا إِذَا غَابَ وَخَشِيَ فَوْتَ فَضِيلَةِ أَوَّلِ الْوَقْتِ وَلَمْ يَخْشَ فِتْنَةً. The author mentioned it is makruh to form a congregation, jama'ah, in a mosque where there is Imam Ratib. Imam Ratib is an Imam that is appointed by the masjid. Imam that is appointed by the mosque is called Imam Ratib. The mosque pays the salary of this Imam. He has this responsibility. He has this responsibility to perform his duty as an Imam. So this is an Imam Ratib. If there is a mosque where there is Imam Ratib, it is makruh for a person to form out Jama'ah, because this can cause any confusion and issues. Then he mentioned وَهُوَ غَيْرُ مَتْرُوكٍ, and this type of mosque is غَيْرُ مَتْرُوك. This is where we stopped last week. Last week I gave the example, mosque that is matruk and غَيْرُ مَتْرُوك. So when we say matruk, any meaning constantly there are people praying. This is an example. We say masjid matruk, constantly there is people praying. For example, if you have a mosque in a busy street, and at all times there are people coming to pray. For example, now in this time of Maghrib, so people come in. Most mosques in Singapore matruk, like Masjid Khalid, for example, matruk. Like for example, now we have completed the Maghrib prayers, and there are people who continue to perform their prayers. There are people outside, for example, they have not performed their Maghrib prayer. So this is matruk. So the first example the author says, if the mosque is ghayrul matruk, not matruk. What is an example in a mosque not matruk? And maybe we can imagine a mosque in a village, where usually the congregants are the same people. And after they complete their prayers, normally there is no jama'ah. So imagine if the imam is not there, and then we form up a jama'ah. This is makruh. This is makruh, because there is any imam ratib, and the mosque is ghayru matruk, and they are waiting for the imam, and then suddenly you become the imam. So people will get confused, and there might be issues. Imam ratib might question you, why are you becoming the imam? I am the imam in this place. You do not have the permission. Tamam? Walam ya'dhan lahu imamuhu, unless if the imam gives idhan. He said, today you become the imam. If the imam gives permission, khalas, and he can become the imam. This is not makruh. But in a situation if the imam is late, and for example Imam Ratib is late, it is makruh that we form up any jama'ah. Illa idha ghaba, unless if he is absent, the imam does not come. So we are waiting, the imam does not come. So there is no issue in forming a jama'ah, and we perform our prayers. If the imam does not come, wa khashiya fawta fadilati awwal al-waqt, the jama'ah they are afraid that they will not get the virtue of praying early. Walam yakhsha fitnatan, and also he is not afraid that there might be a fitna, there might be some issues. Normally in mosques where sometimes the imam sometimes comes, sometimes does not come. The jama'ah they are already used to it. So whenever the imam is late, they know imam is not coming. So they appoint someone to become the imam. Here no issue, because we are not afraid of issues. Unless if the imam always come, and then one day he came late, for example, he did not come. So we wait for a while, because if we were to perform a jama'ah and pray, this might result in some many issues, some complaints. So it is better to avoid if in that case. But the author mentioned walam yakhsha fitnatan, meaning if he does not fear any of a trial or issues, then it is permissible for him to form jama'ah. So by this, alhamdulillah, we will enter into babu salatil musafir. For those who have the English and translation, is there any words that are left out, the Arabic words, or anything that is left out? Okay. Everything okay? Okay. If there is any, please inform me. Okay. Akmal, can you read?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. قال الشيخ المؤلف أدام الله النفع به وبكم في الدارين آمين. رضي الله عنكم. ويندب أن يجهر الإمام بتكبير وبقول سمع الله لمن حمده وبالسلام ويوافقه المسبوق في الأذكار.
No, afwan, actually this is in the last part, and before we enter into Babu Salat al-Musafir, I missed out on this. Earlier I mentioned we have entered into Babu Salat al-Musafir. I did not see this in below. So lastly, the author mentioned wayundabu an yajhar al-imamu bi takbir. Yani if you are the imam, it is a sunnah you do jahar. Jahar meaning you raise your voice so that the ma'mum can hear you. They know that you are doing ruku, you are doing i'tidal, you are doing sujud. Otherwise, if you are praying and you do not raise your voice, especially in sujud, the ma'mum will be wondering, have you raised from sujud or have not raised from sujud? So for the imam, yusannu an yajhar bi takbiri wa bi qawlihi sami Allahu liman hamida. And the imam says sami Allahu liman hamida, jahar, yani by raising his voice. Wa bis salam, likewise in the salam. Wa yuwafiquhu al-masbuq fil adhkar. As for any masbuq, a person who comes and he is a masbuq, so he follow the imam. What is the meaning of following the imam? Because any masbuq, sometimes you come in, for example, in the third rak'ah, or you come in when the imam is in the second rak'ah, and the imam does tashahud awwal. So you are the masbuq. To you, this is the first rak'ah, correct or not? To you, this is the first rak'ah. The imam does tashahud awwal. It is wajib for you to follow the imam. So is it a sunnah for you to recite the tashahud awwal? Yani at-tahiyatul barakatul salawatul tayyibat? Yes. So this is what the author already mentioned. The masbuq follow the adhkar of the imam. The imam when he recites tashahud, he recites tashahud. The imam when he recites qunut fajr, he came in second rak'ah and he in fajr. So the imam recite Allahumma hdina fi man hadait. Then he recite فَإِنَّكَ تَقْضِي وَلَا يُقْضَى عَلَيْكَ. The ma'mum he also recite, although he is a masbuq. Or he can say, for example, this is my first rak'ah, why must I recite dua qunut? The reason is because you are following the imam. You follow the sequence of the imam and not your sequence, and not not your sequence. Now continue.
باب صلاة المسافر. يجوز للمسافر سفرا طويلا مباحا قصر الظهر والعصر والعشاء ركعتين أداء وقضاء لا فائدة الحضر والمشكوك أنها فائدة حضر أو سفر.
First thing he mentioned يجوز للمسافر سفرا طويلا. So these are so many conditions when it comes to shortening of prayers, that a person is a musafir. A musafir is the opposite of muqim. So musafir is a person who is out of his country, or a person who reaches his destination, which is more than 2 marhala, and he is staying for 3 days and less, without we take into consideration the day that he comes and the day that he leaves. So this is a musafir. Whereas any muqim and is a person and who stays in a place 4 days and more. So there is a difference between musafir and muqim. And musafir, and we have safar qasir and safar tawil. Safar qasir and is anything that is less than 2 marhala. It's about 86 kilometers from the border any of our town or country. So if musafir and safar qasir, for example, and if we go to JB, we are musafir, but this is safar qasir. This is a short safar. So there are certain things that we cannot get the concessions, like shortening and the prayers. So that is why the author mentions safaran tawilan. Tawil here and it refers to 2 marhala and more than 86 kilometers. So this is the first condition. It must be safar tawil. So we count any from the border any of our country or border any of our city. Safaran tawilan, and it must be mubah. Safar mubah, any meaning safar not for the sake of committing a sin. So we have to question ourselves, why am I traveling? A person is traveling to umrah, to perform umrah. This is mashallah safar ibadah. A person is safar because he wants to meet his relatives. This is encouraged in Islam. So mubah here meaning it is not any travel to commit any sin. If a person travel to gamble, for example, then this is safar ma'siyah. This is not any safar, not safar mubah. So the objective of the safar must be accepted by the Sharia. This is called safar mubah. So he must be a musafir and safar tawil, and he must be mubah. Then it is permissible qasru zuhri wal asri wal isha'i rak'ataini to shorten the prayers. Zuhr and asr, isha and isha. Ada'an wa qada'an. Ada'an wa qada'an. Ada'an, we understand. Ada'an meaning the prayers that are on time. But qada'an, if a person is a musafir and he misses any prayer, can he make up for the prayer qasran? Yes, as long as he is a musafir. As long as he is a musafir and he does not perform the prayer in a state of safar. Like for example, a person does not perform any prayers when he is in the airplane. So when he reach any transit, he wants to make up for the prayer, the isha prayer. Can he perform qasr? So now when we look, when he is in the airplane, he is a musafir. When he wants to perform the qada, he is a musafir. So in this situation, we say yes, he can perform qada qasran, by shortening the prayers. So whether it is ada'an or qada'an, clear inshallah? Is it clear, everybody? Now continue. Afwan, la fa'itat al-hadar. So now, if a person does not perform prayers when he is a muqim, hadar here meaning when you are in your country. For example, a person in Singapore, he does not perform his isha prayers. And then when he travels, when he is in Morocco, he is a musafir, and he wants to make up the isha prayers that he missed in Singapore. Can he perform qasr? He cannot perform qasr, although he is a musafir. Why? Because when he misses that prayer, he is in a state of mustawtin or muqim. So he can, when he wants to make up the prayer, he must make up 4 rak'ah, not 2 rak'ah. Clear inshallah? So the author is trying to tell us it depends on when it depends on when he misses the prayer. Whether he misses the prayer in a state of musafir or in a state of muqim. If he misses the prayer in a state of musafir, then he make up in the state of musafir. As long as he's still a musafir. Tamam? Is that clear inshallah? Aywa. Then he mentioned walal mashkuk, he has doubt. Whether when I miss my prayer, am I in the state of musafir or muqim? Khalas, and if we say al-asl, that he is a muqim, then he cannot make up. Afwan, he cannot perform any qasr for the prayer that he missed, because he is in a state of doubt. Because when he is in doubt, meaning he's not a musafir, he's a mukim. If a person is in doubt. Clear inshallah? Now, continue.
والسفر الطويل يومان معتدلان بسير الأثقال والإتمام أفضل إلا في 3 مراحل ولمن وجد في نفسه كراهة القصر.
Then the author speaks about what is the distance in safar tawil. So he says yawmani mu'tadilan. Yani last time when travelers when they travel for 2 days how long can they reach? Al asqal meaning on the backs of camel. Yani imagine you are crossing the desert and you have a camel with you and you have what do you call it, your belongings with you. So the speed of the camel when you walk for 2 days here meaning not you walk for 48 hours, no. Yani no human beings, Allahu alam, and he can walk for 48 hours straight. The meaning here mu'tadilan. That's why the author mentioned mu'tadilan, yawman mu'tadilan, to tell us that usually when people musafir, they will walk in the day and they rest at night. So normally when we go back to norm, those who are traveling on camel backs, so for example they start traveling after Fajr, they perform the Fajr prayers, then they set out for safar. So they walk, for example, for 2 hours, they will take a break. Correct or not? They will take a break. And then they continue walking until, for example, 10 a.m. They will take a break. And then they will walk again. And then they will come into a place to perform the Zohar prayer. After performing Zohar prayer, they will have their lunch. And then they will have their break again. Rest. Because that time maybe there's a lot of heat. And then they will walk again. They will walk all the way until before sunset. And then before that they will find a place to rest for the night. So this is considered to be one day. So if you times 2 days, how far can it go? This is the meaning of 2 marhala. 2 marhala. So our scholars mentioned it is between 80 to 90 kilometers. 1 marhala is about 43 kilometers. 2 marhala is about 86. So 2 days of traveling is considered to be safar tawil. So this one is a mu'tadilani bi sayril asqal. Sayril asqal not like a person riding a horse. If a person ride a horse mashallah for 2 days he can cover a far distance. But if a person travel with asqal, meaning this is walking, tamam? Because they are bringing their belongings. Asqal here meaning weights. So this is how the author mentioned. But today, alhamdulillah, he mentioned it's about 86 kilometers. It's 2 marhala. Wal itmamu afdal. And if a person asks which is better, I pray 4 rak'ah or 2 rak'ah. You say it depends how far is your destination. If your destination is less than 3 marhala, it is better you do itmam. Itmam here meaning you pray 4 rak'ah. But if your destination is more than 3 marhala, it is better to do qasr. Because why? In the Madhab Imam Abu Hanifa, they mentioned qasr is wajib after 3 marhala. So to go out any of these differences, it is better to do qasr. But why the author mentioned itmam is better after 2 marhala? Because there is khilaf. Safar tawil, is it 2 marhala, 3 marhala? Khilaf. In the Madhab Imam Abu Hanifa, 3 marhala. In the Madhab Imam Abu Hanifa, 3 marhala. In the Madhab Imam Shafi, 2 marhala. So there is difference again. So that is why it is better to avoid. This is what the author is saying. There is a qaida al-khuruj min al-khilaf mustahab. Aywa. Then he mentioned waliman wajada fi nafsi karahat al-qasr. If a person he find in himself he doesn't like to do qasr, he said why must he do qasr? It is better for us not to do qasr all the way we will do itmam, because he doesn't like doing qasr. For this person, we say it is better for you to do qasr than itmam. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ did any qasr, but now he is saying that he doesn't want to do qasr. So it is better for him to fight his desires and nafs. Clear, inshallah? So for him, it is better for him to do qasr, even after 2 marhala, to remove this waswas. Now, continue.
فصل وأول السفر الخروج من السور في المسورة ومن العمران مع ركوب السفينة فيما لا سور له ومجاوزة الحلة.
Now the author mentioned when is the beginning of your safar. Now this is an important thing. So the first thing the author mentioned, we look at the city. If the city has walls, when you cross the walls, if the city has walls, then after you cross the wall. Nowadays cities have walls or no walls? Today, for example, if they build a city, will they build a wall around the city? Last time what they used to do is they will build a wall, because understood, they want to prevent the city from what? Being attacked. So for example, in Damascus there is this wall around Damascus. All cities. Istanbul, I went to Istanbul recently. I followed the city walls, the old city walls. So the walls of Istanbul are very big. So I took a motorbike I go on around. Just to look how the Romans they built the city walls, because last time Constantinople is famous for the walls, and for hundreds of years no army can penetrate those walls, because the way they design the walls is amazing. But ala kulli hal, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith, la tuftahanna al-Qustantiniya fa ni'mal amiru amiruha. The Prophet mentioned that Qustantiniya will be conquered, and the best amir is that amir, and the best army is that army. At last he was conquered. So the reason why they built walls understood, because last time warfare is on the ground. When people attack they use horses and armies on the ground. But nowadays nobody build walls, because nowadays people use Scud missiles. There is no point. Last time the Chinese also built walls against the Mongols, because the Mongols attack. So that is the reason they built the Great China Wall. So last time it is a norm. When you build a city, you must build a wall to protect your city, because anytime any enemies can come and attack. At least if you have a wall, you can deploy security. Anytime the armies come, you can close the doors. That is how they protect the cities last time. So our scholars of the past, when they speak about the beginning of Safar, they speak about al-musawwara. This is what the author mentioned. Balad al-musawwara, meaning there are walls. So imagine if you live in Jerusalem. I think Jerusalem is a good example. Yeah, I think the best example for this is Baitul Maqdis. Bait al-Maqdis, the old city of Jerusalem. Until today, the walls are still preserved. Until today, together with the doors, that if they close any of the doors, you cannot enter the city. If they close any of the doors, you cannot enter the city. And they all together, they are about six doors, I think. The main door is Babul Amun, the Damascus gate. So if a person lives in the old city, in Jerusalem and in Baitul Maqdis, the beginning of his safar is when he leaves the wall, because he lives in a city that has walls. So for him, we say no need for him to go to the airport to be a musafir. If you intend to go overseas, when you live there, city wall, you are already a musafir. Clear, inshallah? But for us in Singapore, we are in the second example, because we are surrounded by the sea. So when is the beginning of our journey? When we go out of our seashore. When we go out of our seashore, when we cross the causeway, after crossing the causeway, we are musafir. When we take the boat, ferry. When the ferry leave the dock, we are musafir, easy. For Singaporeans, mashallah, it's very easy. We don't have walls, but we have the sea. So we ascertain in the beginning of our journey when we leave any the land. But in certain places, any difficult. There are no walls and there are no sea. Imagine you live in Texas and in US, and you want to travel into California. Now this is a challenge to determine when is the beginning of your journey, because you don't have any walls. Then you have to depend on the district. You have to look at the situation, how the houses are built, whether the houses are built together or apart. If they are built together, you live in communities that are attached together, then easily you can say once you live in this community and you are musafir. But if you live in cities like New York, where the buildings are very much closer, then you have to find the end of those buildings. Now that is a challenge. But I think for America, maybe it's not that difficult, because America is a big country. There's always this part, and when you live in the city, there will be highways and open land. Then khalas, you are musafir. But the challenge can be for cities like in China, for example, where the buildings are very close together for hundreds of kilometers. That is difficult, because this is where the author mentioned, if there are buildings, then we have to look at the furthest point of the buildings. Where is the furthest point? For Singapore, we do not regard all these things. Although some people say that once you reach Pasir Ris, you are at the end of the country, and when you live in that area, you are musafir. Allahu alam. Because Singapore is a small country, it is better that we play safe. We do not regard that as a beginning of our safar. We regard our sea as the beginning of our safar. So he said, في البلد المصور ومن العمران مع ركوب السفينة فيما لا سور له. Umran, buildings. So at the end of the buildings is the end of the beginning of the safar. Like Tarim, for example, the buildings the houses are very close apart. In Yemen, places like Shibam and Tarim, the buildings are close together. So easy for us to see that once we leave the last buildings, we are leaving the city, because it's desert after that. So easily people can know whether they are musafir or not musafir once they leave a certain place. So this is an example when a person leaves the Umran, the buildings. Then he mentioned مع ركوب السفينة فيما لا سور له. So for places where there is no walls, he said بركوب السفينة, because the safina, the boat is on the sea, just like in the case of Singapore. So when we go up in the boat, we are musafir. Correct or not? Why? Because we are out in the ocean. We are out at sea. We are considered to be musafir. ومجاوزة الحلة. الحلة is a society or community or a village. So the author mentioned when a person lives in the village, then he is a musafir. Clear, inshallah? Village meaning like Tarim earlier, I give the example, Shibam. This is a village. So when they live in this village, they are musafir. Now continue.
وينتهي سفره بوصوله سور وطنه أو عمرانه إن كان غير مسور وبنية الرجوع إلى وطنه.
Now وينتهي سفره بوصوله سور وطنه. If you are living in a place where there is a wall, so the end of your journey is when you reach the wall. So the beginning of your safar, if you leave the wall, the ending in your safar is when you reach the wall. أو عمرانه, or he reach the houses, the buildings of his city. إن كان غير مصور, if the city there is no walls. غير إن كان غير مصور, there are no walls. So this is how we can ascertain that we are no longer musafir? So when we are no longer musafir, the concession of safarin is not given. Clear, inshallah? وَبِنِيَّةِ رُجُوءِ إِلَى وَطَنِهِ. A person, and he goes out, and after that he makes the intention and to go back to his homeland, that he's no more musafir. No more yani musafir. Unless, and for example, meaning he cuts and he suffer. So he's no more yani musafir. Then when he wants any to return back to his homeland, and we look at the distance, if it's more than 2 marhala, then he can any shorten any his prayers. But this any a situation anywhere, if a person wants to travel to Kuala Lumpur, for example, and he lives in Singapore, so when he's in Johor Bahru, he intends to return back to Singapore. So now he cannot do qasar and jama' and qasar, and he cannot. Because why? He intended to return back to Singapore. So now he's no more musafir, safar and tawil. Clear, inshallah? Because of the intention of returning. But he doesn't have the intention of returning. Can he do qasar and jama' in JB? And he wants to go to Kuala Lumpur, and he reached JB. Can he combine any prayers and shorten the prayers? Can or cannot? Huh? What do you think? Huh? Now a person wants to travel to Kuala Lumpur. So when he reached JB, can he combine his prayers and shorten his prayers in JB? Can? Why can? Yeah, because we take into consideration the destination. The destination. Although JB is very near to Singapore, but because his destination is more than 2 marhala, he can combine his prayers. But here the author mentioned unless he makes the intention to return. So if he make the intention to return, he cannot do jama' and qasar. Tamam? But in Fathul Mu'in, the author mentioned another thing. He travels more than 2 marhala. Then after that he make the intention to return. So when he makes the intention to return, from the point when he make the intention to return and his homeland more than 2 marhala, so this is considered to be a new journey. Clear, inshallah? This is considered to be a new journey. Aywa, continue.
وبوصول موضع نوى الإقامة فيه مطلقا أو 4 أيام صحيحة أو لحاجة لا تنقضي إلا بالمدة المذكورة.
Now these are the exceptions, and he mentioned وبوصول موضع نوى الإقامة. Yani he plans to go to Kuala Lumpur, but when he reached Batu Pahat, he met his friend. His friend said, why not you stay at my place for 1 month? He said, okay. So he makes the intention, I will stay here for 1 month, then I go to Kuala Lumpur. So now he becomes muqim already. Can he do jama' and qasar? Yani he wants to go to Kuala Lumpur. When he reaches Batu Pahat, he makes the intention to stay 1 month. Can he jama' and qasar in Batu Pahat? But he said, my destination is Kuala Lumpur. My destination is Kuala Lumpur. But he stays he intends to stay 1 month in Batu Pahat. So is he considered musafir or muqim? What do you think? It's considered to be a muqim. Why? Because 4 days and more. The definition of muqim is when a person stays in a place 4 days and more. This is what the author is saying. So he mentioned وَبِوُصُولِ مَوْضِئٍ نَوَى الْإِقَامَةَ فِيهِ مُطْلَقًا. Mutlaqan, any meaning, he say, I will stay here forever. Or he has no intention of returning. He say, I will make any displace in my homeland. Khalas, we say, you are muqim. Or 4 أيام صحيحة. 4 أيام صحيحة. Sahihah here meaning not inclusive any of the day of reaching and the day when he leaves. If he reach Batu Pahat on Monday, so Monday we don't count. So we count on Tuesday. So this is a full day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So these are the 4 days. Sahihah. and then he left on Friday. Now he's a muqim. If he reach on Monday and he intends to leave Friday, he say after Friday prayers, I'll go to Kuala Lumpur. So he cannot do Jama' in Qasr because he is a muqim. 4 days. Because he intend 4 days minimum. 4 days. But if he intend 3 days, he's still a musafir. If he say on Thursday after Zohor, I will go to Kuala Lumpur. So we say you can do Jama' in Qasr because 3 days you are still a musafir. أو 4 أيام صحيحة أو لحاجة لا تنقضي إلا في المدة المذكورة. He said that I will stay here as long as I receive my visa, and I do not know when my visa will be out. So in this situation, he can do Jama' and Qasr up to 18 days. And if a person is in a place, he says, I do not know how long I will be, I'm waiting for my haja. If my haja comes, I will leave. Just like any visa, for example, a person in transit to a country, and then they say that you need a visa, otherwise you cannot enter this country. You say, okay, I will apply for visa. So how long should I wait? We do not know. Once your visa is ready, we will inform you. So he wait 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day. He can do Jama' and Qasr all the way into how many days? 18 days. Clear, inshallah. So he mentioned وَإِنْ كَانَ يَتَوَقَّعُ قَضَاهَا كُلَّ وَقْتٍ تَرَخَّصَ إِلَى 18 يَوْمًا. This is what we mentioned. إِلَى 18 يَوْمًا, 18 days. Because the Prophet ﷺ do Jama' and Qasr for 18 days and in one of the battles, if not mistaken, Battle of Hunain. This mentioned the Hashia Fatul Mu'in. In the Battle of Hunain, in the Battle of Hunain. In the Battle of Hunain, they thought that the battle is only a few days. But turned out it stretched for many days. And the Muslims, they do not know when and it will end. So the Prophet ﷺ do Jama' and Qasr. It is mentioned for 18 days. That is why this is how we get 18 days. But this is in a situation where we do not know when it will come. Clear, inshallah. Now continue.
ولا يكسر هائم وطالب غريم أو آبق لا يعرف موضعه ولا زوجة وعبد لا يعرفان المقصد إلا بعد مرحلتين.
Now these are the people that cannot do Qasr. Number 1, Ha'im. Ha'im is a person does not know where is the destination. He say, I will just travel. I will just travel. Wherever my bike brings me, that is the place I will go. We say no Jama' and Qasr for you. Unless if he has reached a place more than 2 marhala. A person say, wherever my bikes bring me, I just follow my heart. We ask him, what is your destination? No destination. I will just travel. So he travel all the way. Then after that, he reach Kuala Lumpur. So now he has reached more than 2 marhala. Khalas, and we say you can Jama' and Qasr now. But before 2 marhala, you cannot Jama' and Qasr because you do not know your destination. This is Ha'im. Wala talib gharim, a person he wants to find his the one who took his loan. He does not know where this person is, so he keep on searching for this person. He cannot do Jama' and Qasr because he has no destination. Ruling the same as Ha'im. Aw abiqin. Abiq a person who flees, like the slave who flees from his master. This ma'siyah. So he is not given the concession of Qasr. Because why? He is performing ma'siyah. He's running away. And then he mentioned La ya'rifu mawdi'ahu. Abiq, a person who flees and he does not know where he is. It is not permissible for him to do Jama' and Qasr. Wala zawjatun wa abdun la ya'rifani al-maqsid. Likewise, a wife and a slave who does not know where is the destination they are going. Wife and slave, last time wives, they just follow their husband. Sometimes the wife does not know where the husband is going. The wife just follow the husband. In this case, she cannot perform Jama' and Qasr. But nowadays, very difficult for us to imagine husband and wife any travel, and the wife any does not know where the husband is going. It's very difficult for us to imagine. But last time any it is different. The wife any just follow the caravan. Wherever any the husband goes, any she follows. So in this situation, she cannot do Jama' and Qasr. Just like any the slave follow the master. The master did not tell the slave where he's going. The slave any just follows. He cannot do Jama' and Qasr. Clear inshallah? Illa ba'da marhalatain. Now this one you have to underline. Illa ba'da al-marhalatain. Except it is more than 2 marhala. All of these people they can do Jama' and Qasr after 2 marhala. The wife now say that mashallah we have traveled for 100 kilometers. But I do not know where my husband is going. Now I can do Jama' and Qasr. Because this after 2 marhala. Likewise the ha'im. Likewise the abiq. The one who flees from the master. And so on and so forth. Afwan, for the abiq no, because ma'asi, afwan. Because any abiq, if he flees from the master, he is not given the concession. He's not given the concession. Unless we say that, for example, someone who flees because of torture. He managed to free himself from torture. But he does not know where he's going. We say it is permissible for him to combine prayers if he has performed above any marhalatain. Wallahu ala mini bis-sawab. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.